Welcome to Velocity, the Vista Chamber podcast. I'm your host, Vista Chamber CEO Rachel Beld, and it's my privilege to interview our movers, shakers, and change makers impacting the Vista community and beyond. Joining me today is Kevin Humphrey. He's the superintendent of Guahomie Schools. He's served in this role since 2016. And Kevin began his career as a history and government teacher and spent 12 years in the classroom. And then he served as a school administrator for Guahomie for 4 years before becoming superintendent. Kevin earned a Bachelor of Arts in History from Bowling Green State University and a Master of Arts in Teaching from the University of St. Mary. And later he completed his administrative credential right here at Cal State University San Marcos. He grew up in Ohio and moved to California in 2008 to be part of the Guahomie family. He's a proud dad of 2 young daughters and a supportive husband to his wife, who's also in the field of education. He's currently in his 23rd year in education, and he embraces and appreciates the opportunity to work with all the stakeholders to create the best possible learning environments for families and strives to build a community of lifelong learners at Guahomie. Welcome, Kevin. Thank you for being here.
That sounds about right. Thanks for having me, Rachel.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for making time. I know you have a very busy schedule, so I appreciate that. So I want us to kind of set some context first before we jump into your personal work. I'll tell everybody a little bit about Guahomie Schools. I know most people know about Guahomie Park Academy, but what is Guahomie Schools?
Well, Guahomie Schools is an entity that has 2 charters. We have Guahomie Park Academy, which is a K through 12 seat-based program that most people know about. We have about 1,400 students that attend the Guahomie Park Academy. And we have our Guahomie Learning Centers, which is an independent study hybrid type learning program where the elementary school is predominantly homeschooling type program. We provide support for the families. Families come in once a week, where there's some co-op learning, that sort of thing. The middle school is a combination of online learning and independent study, again, with the opportunity to meet with a teacher once a week. And the high school students in grades 9 through 12 are predominantly learning online using a program called Apex, where they're able to kind of go at their own speed, their own time of day and night to be able to learn. But they also have the ability to come in, get additional support from a teacher, and they're required to come in at least once a week to meet one-on-one with the teacher. Great.
So you have 1,400 students at Guahomie Park Academy. And about how many participate in GLC?
It usually starts off at around in the mid-60s, and then it usually ends up topping out at around 100. Some students need to go there for a variety of different reasons, medical reasons. Some students are looking for credit recovery. Some just don't see the classroom as like their kind of thing, their jam. And some are looking for a little bit of a break. So a variety. I just had a student in elementary school who broke his collarbone. Instead of doing home hospital, there's a program that they can come down to, and they're going to have the curriculum and support. And that student's going to be able to at least attend school for a semester at the Guahomie Learning Centers.
That's great. So it's an opportunity, really, just an option. And so oftentimes people might go into the Guahomie Learning Center and then might transition back out if it's not a long-term solution for them. So it could be short-term or it could be a long-term, like if you have, specific needs. So that's great that people have the option.
And even in high school, we have some students that will take most of their classes at Guahomie Learning Centers, but they can take up to 2 classes at Guahomie Park Academy. So for instance, they want to take a lab science, or they want to do the hands-on lab thing, or they want to take German, or they want to take drama. They'll take most of their classes at Guahomie Learning Centers, but they'll take 1 or 2 at Guahomie Park Academy.
That's great. It's, one of the things I realized, when I was growing up, you just went to the school down the street. The elementary school was down the street. The middle school was a little bit further, and then the high school was a little further than that. There really weren't options or choices where I grew up in Texas, at least. And now I feel like our students in Vista and our region have so many options and opportunities to find a school that fits their learning. Even within Vista Unified, there are options. And then I know you're connected to Vista Unified. I want to ask about that in a minute. But it's great that we have options to fit every unique learner, which I think is so great. So how long has Guahomie Schools been serving the Vista community?
Well, it's funny. I was just writing a little bit of a history lesson for our stakeholders today. They started in 1994. We were the 50th charter in the state of California.
Oh, wow.
To give perspective, there's 1,300, over 1,300 now. And of those 50, only 25 remain. We were the 3rd charter in San Diego County. So we've been around for a long time. We celebrated our 25th anniversary in 2019. I know you attended
I did.
Festivities. Yeah. And so that means we're creeping up on year number 30. We've been around for quite a long time, and it's been definitely an interesting ride. We've definitely had a lot of different experiences in trying to serve the community, and a lot of different shifts and adjustments.
Yeah.
But it's been a pretty special ride.
How has the school changed in those 25 plus years?
Size?
Yeah.
So, I mean, where Guajomí started off was right down the street, right next to the Avo, in a storefront. I think you're pretty close to you guys' old building. And then it's gone. Well, it started off before that, sharing a facility with Vista Unified, and then moving to the storefront, and then moving to trailers in the parking lot of where we're currently located now, into the beautiful facility that we have now. So size has been one. Demographics. When I first started teaching at Guajomí, about 45% of our students were native Spanish speaking. And right now we're looking at about 65% of our students native Spanish speaking.
And that's reflective of the community at large,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
It's more in line with that. Mm-hmm.
We look like Vista.
Yeah.
We look like Vista. Our culture is very similar to Vista. And that's very important because I want to make sure that we're serving our community and making sure that we're providing the best opportunity for those students. Says 65% native Spanish speaking, 60% free and reduced lunch.
Right.
So students that are coming from families that need support, but obviously value education because they're making a choice to send their students to a school that's different from their neighborhood school.
Right.
They see something in us that they like, and they value that. They want to be a part of it.
What do you think that is? What's the secret sauce?
I don't know. I mean, I think they know their kid, and we're very honest. We're very sincere. I think word of mouth. About the programs that we provide, we've really developed into a situation where we need the students to be able to develop skills to be successful, and we've understood this. And being a school of only 1,500 students between GPA and GLC, we can move relatively quickly when it comes to that topic. So instead of hoping students have skills to attain content knowledge, we help the students develop the skills using content and information. And it's something that I feel like is much more applicable. I don't know if you've seen the statistic, the idea that by 2030, 80% of the jobs that were going to be available hadn't been created in the year 2018.
Yeah.
That's a big shift. So how do you prepare students to be successful? You prepare them by developing the skills to be successful.
Yeah.
Not necessarily knowing information, because they can get the information from their cell phone.
Exactly.
They can access information in a very different way. I think probably one of the eye-opening moments is when towards one of my last years of teaching in 2011, 2012, I asked kids how many of them have used an encyclopedia before. And very few of them raised their hand. And for 500 years, this was the mode of how people got information. My parents grocery shopped and picked an encyclopedia out after they spent so much money. They got a free Encyclopedia Britannica. And the world's shifting really quickly, and education needs to adapt. And I feel like we're doing a lot of things to be able to meet the needs, as our neighbors are, as our traditional public schools are trying to be able to do as well.
Yeah.
And so it's education is shifting as quickly as just about anything else right now.
So true. I was just talking with a couple of other moms. I have a 7th grade daughter and a 3rd grade son, and we were talking about how our kids aren't bringing out these big textbooks and like reading and looking at it. And we realized, as we're kind of talking about what an interesting shift it was from when we were in middle school. Kids aren't just reading books and memorizing facts. It's about figuring out how to learn and how to do that. And the content and the information is readily available in so many different ways that it's a completely different approach to learning now. And I think that's great that Guajomí's approached that or embraced that. I wanted to ask you, just to be clear and to put it out there, because so many people don't know, Guajomí is free. It isn't. You don't have to pay a tuition to go there. You apply to go to Guajomí. It's lottery based.
It is lottery based.
Okay.
So the long and short of it is if there's room and you want to go to Guajomí, you get to go to Guajomí. It's a charter public school.
Okay.
All charter schools are public schools.
Okay.
And as a result, that if you fill out an application and there's room, you get in. The problem comes in if there's a wait list, or if there's too many students in one particular grade level and we don't have enough room for you. That's when we go to a lottery process.
Okay, great. So explain to me, because I still don't quite 100% get it, the relationship with Vista Unified. So how does that work?
So this is where it always gets interesting and where we talk about. So Vista Unified's responsibility is to provide oversight. What they do is they hold us accountable to make sure that we're doing everything we're supposed to be doing as far as our board governance is concerned.
Okay.
Financially, we're not stealing anybody's money because we do receive taxpayer dollars, and that's really important. And that academically, we're performing well.
Okay.
If we're doing those three things well, then we're doing our job as a school, and we're being good stewards of people's taxpayer dollars. It's their responsibility to make sure. This is where one of the myths that comes in sometimes, the charters need to be held accountable. We actually have people that can come in and say, you are not doing your job. We're going to close you down.
Right.
So that's, to me, the highest level of accountability. Outside of the fact that if we're not doing a good job, people will choose to send their children somewhere else.
Right. Because they can decide, they can choose. They can say, I don't want to go here. I want to go somewhere else. I can want to go to my neighborhood school. Right.
Or another charter school or whatever is going to be able to work. So their responsibility is really to provide oversight. That it just came from a meeting where they talked about how they're going to be providing oversight for us the next year.
Okay.
We send them documents. They come in and make sure everything is going on, that we're following everything that has to go with our charter. And that's their responsibility. And it's why it's important to have a good relationship, transparent. But it's still, it gets, things get lost in the weed. People don't understand that. They'll come to us thinking we're part of Vista Unified.
Right.
They'll go to the school district, and we have our own board. So instead of Vista Unified's board making decisions on our behalf, we have our own board that makes that decision.
Okay.
And it can be confusing at times, but it's because it's very different from what I think a lot of people are used to in their own educational experience.
Well, I think it sounds like it's kind of the best of both worlds. You have some autonomy, you have some things, but you also need to meet benchmarks and criteria and have transparency and accountability. And so it's not, so curriculum wise, it's not that Guajomí can just say, we want to teach everyone about the color blue and why the color blue is the king of the world or whatever. Like, you can't make up some wackadoodle curriculum. You have to follow the state guidelines for what people need to graduate knowing and what each grade level needs to master. And you're still subject to state testing and all of those things, right? Okay.
Yeah, we just get to take a different approach about how we get the students to that process.
Okay.
And as I said, really where our shift as an organization has gone is, instead of hoping the students have the skills to be able to attain those standards and understand that information, instead we help them develop those skills using the information.
Sure.
And it makes it for a much more relevant experience.
Great. Great. Okay. All right. Now I want to talk about you.
Okay.
Okay. So why did you become an educator?
Why did I become an educator?
Yeah.
Mr. Pat Costello was my history teacher in 7th and 8th grade. And I liked history before that, but he was just such a good person. And I learned so much from him, not only when it came to history, but also as just a person. He was always a gentleman. He was a male teacher amongst an all-female faculty.
Yeah.
And he treated everybody, especially the women around him, as if they were the most important thing out there. So he really elevated people, and he elevated people that were sometimes struggled. And I was able to really kind of see that in 7th and 8th grade, and he really inspired me. And I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I was one of the rare people. I tell our kids all the time, it's okay not to know what you want to do in high school. It's not okay to not think about it. And I was one of the lucky few that knew pretty early on that I wanted to be a teacher, and I wanted to impact people in a similar way that Mr. Costello did.
That's great. It's great. Have you connected with him?
I'm getting older now, so that means right when I finished college, he passed away. And so I got a chance to tell his wife and his family, his 2 kids, what a big impact it was his life had on me. He was a second career guy. He was a FAA air traffic controller.
Oh, wow.
And then moved into teaching. So
he was older then.
He was older, and but also experienced in life, and was able to kind of bring that experience. He made school fun.
Yeah.
Like, people are serious a lot, and I'm not a serious person. I can be if I have to be, but I really like to have fun more. I try to bring that to the office. I try to bring that to we have such an important job. It's important, I think, that people have fun doing it. And I think that that's something that I also learned from him, because he had a lot of fun. And he always used to talk about his dog, Muffy and Spuffy. And then he would switch it up and kill her and Spike because he didn't want us to come over and egg his house or do anything like that. And he had 2 little poodle dogs.
How funny.
But he made them sound super, super big and angry and everything like that.
How funny.
But yeah, he was just a super nice guy and super influential in my life.
Yeah. Isn't it so interesting to think about all now? You've impacted so many students. And so my husband's a teacher, full disclosure, he's a teacher at Guahomie. He teaches science for 7th and 9th grade. And he gets letters all the time from kids that he had a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years. He's been there. I think it's his 21st year at Guahomie. And it's amazing. He shares them with me. And I'm tearing up just thinking about some of the letters that he gets of the ways that he's impacted students that you don't even know. Yeah. And those are just the ones who took the time to write you. So it's really cool. In fact, this year, our daughter, who's in 7th grade, has a former Guahomie student as her teacher.
Oh,
so
really?
yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
For her 7th grade, I think it's her language arts teacher, was a former student of Brian's. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so it's a full circle moment for our family. It's really cool. So, okay. So after you were in the classroom, you decided that you want to be an administrator. So what made you think about that leap and to take that chance, and what inspired you to go into leadership?
I remember this very vividly. I was in a car with my wife driving up. I was back in Ohio.
Okay.
And she wasn't my wife at the time, but we were engaged, I think. And she's like, first of all, if we're both going to teach, one of us is going to have to go in a different direction if we want to own a house. And I've been thinking about admin at that time. So, but the cost of living and everything, it's really difficult to purchase a house on 2 educators' income. So thought about it. I had a friend that was going through the program at Cal State San Marcos, but at the same time, I was ready for something different. And I've always been of the mindset, like I can impact. What made it okay for me, I guess, to move out of the classroom is that I can impact students in my classroom, the 200 students I see a day. But if I'm going to be an administrator, the impact that I can have on students is 1,400 students, and I can help meet their needs. And that was very appealing to me. And not only that, I knew, because I built strong relationships, I knew that some students struggled, and there was a rationale behind sometimes their negative behavior. I was going to get to learn more about that. I was going to be able to help them in a different way that I wouldn't be able to help them out with in a classroom. So I knew why a student was angry. I knew why they were upset. I knew why they were acting out. And this gave me the opportunity to really meet them at a different level. And I think that was important to me, to be okay with not having that relationship with kids in the classroom.
Yeah.
And the same thing with moving from my assistant principal position into the superintendent position, was that I can have impact in different ways that may lack that connection, one-on-one connection that I have with a student, but I know is going to help them in the long run.
Yeah. So you brought something up that it's really timely. I was just listening to a podcast from the New York Times about mental health in teens and tweens.
No, my wife was listening to it the other day when she was talking about it with me. Yeah.
And so, as a parent of a soon-to-be teenager, and then, have a son in the 3rd grade, mental health challenges are really, really important always, but especially now with teens and tweens and kids. And so do you have any thoughts about, or why do you think kids are struggling so much with these mental health issues? Is it COVID? Is it social media? Is it a blend of things? Do you have any thoughts?
The answer is yes. It's all of those things. The ability to escape is very difficult. When at least when I was growing up, I won't loop you in with my age group. We had the ability to escape. We can listen to radio. We can listen to music. We could listen to, or we could read a book. We can watch a television program, and we were able to escape. And now, for good, bad, or ugly, and I don't like to get on and say social media is the cause of all evil. It's there, it's present, and there can be good things that come from it too, but it's inescapable. And what you are seeing is everybody's good day or you're seeing vitriol and anger. And if you're not feeling that way, you're feeling left out. So if I go on my friend's Instagram feed and I'm seeing them on vacation and living the best life and looking super great after being photoshopped or whatever, I don't feel that way about myself, and it's really difficult to be okay. Or, you know, like during the pandemic, you saw the anger. You didn't see the person who sat down on the airplane and put their mask on and followed rules and everything was great. You saw the person getting dragged off, cursing, and being upset. And you saw the unrest because of George Floyd. And you saw the political world spiral right in front of us. And everything was inescapable. And especially, and it was highlighted by the pandemic because people didn't go anywhere. They were forced to watch it. And it created a mental health crisis where unrealistic and sometimes not even a good sample size of information was being portrayed as this is what the real world is like. And it made it very difficult for young people to be able to cope with and be able to understand, especially, you know, adults not really fully being able not fully being able to understand how to be able to work with their kids through those difficult issues.
Well, and I know as a parent and the work that I do at the chamber, I was slammed trying to do my job, support businesses, make sure try to keep, you know, I felt personally responsible to like keep everybody in business during the pandemic, and then also homeschool my kids and do all these things. So parents were strapped and stretched and stressed. And so then to also have to figure out how to manage your child's mental health when your own mental health is a mess. At the end, So it's really difficult. But what do you think? Do you think it's getting better now that the pandemic is, I mean, COVID's never going away, but, you know, while school restrictions are better, kids are engaging with each other in person again in a better way. Do you think that that things are improving?
Sure.
What do you think? Yeah.
I'm optimistic about it because I think that this, at least here in the state of California, just knowing how serious everybody is taking people's mental health, and looking at different strategies and ways to be able to support that. I think that there's a lot of opportunities for us to be able to help students and to be able to work with them on fixing the things that they struggle with.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of barriers. The animosity hasn't gone away. The way people talk to each other, there's still issues there. And while we maybe be addressing the concerns for students, you talk about parents and the difficulties that they've had to go through, and not just parents, teachers, administrators. I mean, the weight of the world fell on the shoulders of these people, as like you said, they tried to be able to teach their students and make sure their own kids got an education. Yeah. I would have a meeting at 3:00 and my daughter would be going down for a nap at 2:30 and I'm patting her on the back saying, you got to fall asleep in 15 minutes here because I got a meeting to be able to go to. And it's just, you're thinking about things that you never had to think about before. And it's really stressful. So we got a long way to go. I think there's some destigmatization, I think that's a word, going on when it comes to mental health and receiving support and going to counseling and that sort of thing. And that's good. We still have a long way to go. But hopefully people are understanding that there's other resources out there to fix these problems or work on these issues. So I do think that there's some positive steps in the right direction, but we got a long way to go.
At J&R Auto Body and Paint, you don't have to worry about a thing. From minor dents and dings to major collision repair, we offer a worry, hassle-free experience with superior customer service. Our auto claim advisors work directly with your insurance company, so you don't have to deal with the headaches. Our certified technicians work on all makes and models to get your repair done right the first time. We stand behind our work with a lifetime warranty. Locally and family-owned, J&R Auto Body is here to serve the community. Call us today at 760-724-4923.
Hi, it's Carrie from Solitude Home in Vista, California. If you're looking for ways to brighten and cool your home, we are your natural light and fresh air experts. We offer a selection of daylighting and ventilation products to help make your home beautiful and comfortable. And the best part of all is you won't be using any electricity to brighten up. We can bring beautiful, natural light into those dark spaces in your home, transforming them into beautifully lit spaces in less than 2 hours. No mess, no fuss, just amazing natural light to make your home look and feel great. If you're looking to cool off your home, we have a complete line of ventilation products to keep your home and garage cool. We want to make cooling and refreshing your home easier and more energy efficient than ever with our line of whole house fans, solar attic fans, and garage fans. Our certified installers carry the full line of Solitude daylighting and ventilation products on their vans at all times. Installation can usually be done in about 2 hours. No messy drywall, paint repair, structural changes, or re-roofing needed. It's pretty much the easiest home improvement project you'll ever take on. At Solitude Home, we offer no obligation appointments throughout Southern California. Visit our website at solitubehome.com or stop by our showroom conveniently located in Vista at 2210 Oak Ridge Drive, or give us a call, 619-375-1629. We look forward to brightening your day.
Before we started recording, we were talking a little bit about the start of the school year. And so I know, Guajome, you did some things differently the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So we really focused, the students that we had last year weren't really our students. It didn't seem like we could see that they were upset, that they were hard, that they were angered, that and they struggled academically, but we figured we would be able to fix this. And we did see a decent amount of academic growth with our students throughout the time. But we hadn't seen students that experienced the mental difficulties that they had. We even had a student commit suicide, and it was a really awful experience for everybody involved. And as a result, there was a lot of taking stock about how do we fix this? How do we go about moving forward of creating a safe and consistent learning environment for our students? So as teachers and as administrators talked, I said, we just need to spend the first couple of weeks teaching these students, building relationships, making them feel comfortable again being here on campus, making them feel comfortable with each other, making them feel comfortable with the teachers, helping them to understand that we're all here together to be able to do this. So we really did. We just took the first 2 weeks and we said, we're going to set the curriculum over here. It's really hard for our IB teachers and our IB students. They want to get to it. They're chomping at the bit to be able to get to it. Say, let's check in on ourselves. Let's learn how to be able to make friends again. Let's learn how to talk to each other like normal people instead of hiding behind message boards and things along those lines. Let's make a connection back to the campus. Let's let you know what resources are available to you. And let's do this over a 2-week period. So we had a very dedicated group of teachers who came in and worked with our administrative team. And they designed lessons for period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 that were different for the first 10 days of school. And you could see the students change. You could go out to lunch, you can go out to middle school lunch or high school lunch, and you could see, I don't want to say the behavior change, but you could just see the mentality change. You can just see them going from a balled up fist of anger and rage and being upset at whatever they wanted to be upset at, to just being able to take a deep breath, think clearly, breathe clearly. And it's been helpful. And hopefully this allows us to be able to access them on an academic level, help them be able to build their skills in a way that we've become accustomed to, because last year was about survival. It really was. And we were able to do some growth. But I think we've really gotten off to a strong start as far as that's concerned. And we want to capitalize on that. And we are seeing some different things. We haven't, knock on wood, we haven't had a fight on campus so far this school year. And last year we had 5 or 6, which is really abnormal for us. We have had a handful of suspensions. I think one of the issues that really is ongoing is substance abuse. A lot of students self-medicating because parents were out. It was easy for them to be able to gain access to. So working with our students, we brought on a counselor to be able to provide support for an additional counselor. School social worker is the name of the position, to be able to provide additional support for students, working with them to be able to provide substance abuse support and things along those lines, getting them pointed in the right direction. The campus is cleaner. The suspensions are fewer. Overall, the kids seem to be getting back into a better place.
I think that's great. And I see that, I interact with a lot of different people, different administrators of different schools. I have my own kids. I feel like collectively, especially in the education world, everyone just sort of realized they could let out their breath. Like everyone was kind of just like holding their breath for the last 2.5 years, I feel like. And finally, I feel like people are like, whew, I can relax my shoulders a bit. No. I can take off the edge a little bit. And so I think that's a really great place to be in. It's great that we were able to engage the students in those 10 days of just learning how to be human beings again and to interact with other people and to bring, I think that's really great that you saw that need and were able to meet that opportunity. No, so it's good.
And it's like I said, it's really can be attributed to a really good team and a bunch of people who really knew their students and understood that something's wrong. We need to be able to fix something.
Yeah.
And so they did a good job and they really built something that they want to go back and they want to do something similar next year too. Because I think it could be helpful.
Yeah, that's great. So what other ways can adults support kids? Maybe not just in the mental health area, but what are some ways that adults and maybe even our business community can support your students and partner with you?
I think it's one of and this is what I love about the Rising Star of the Month program. I'm putting a little plug for you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that so many people talk about kids and they're like, kids these days, right? And they talk about, they automatically assume that it was a kid that perpetrated this crime or it was a kid that did this. They assume the worst. And I don't know why that is. Assume the best out of them. So when they're in your business, don't think that they're going to steal anything or they're going to act out. Even if they might be there to do it, if you go up and you just engage them in a conversation, it's like, hey, how's it going? What are you doing here? Why are you here? I'm interested to see why you're interested in coming here. Do you have a job somewhere? How's school going? It's amazing the type of answer that'll go there. There's a natural combativeness that happens sometimes between adults and kids if they don't know each other.
Yeah.
And if you, being the adult, can approach that kid in a non-combative way, it's amazing the conversation that you'll have. And it's such a different approach than they're used to. They're going to open up to you and they're going to appreciate you. My guess, and I know it's not the reason to do it, is they're going to patronize your business when that's the case, or they're going to take care of your business. They're going to be helpful towards you. And I think that could be my best piece of advice is assume the best when they come in and they patronize you. Talk to them, build a relationship with them, laugh with them. Instead of being like, I don't want you immediately jumping out. I don't want you to steal this, or I don't want you guys to break anything, or don't do it. Set things off on the wrong time. Give them the benefit, give them the opportunity to do well, and then be able to go from there. So
give people the benefit of the doubt. Treat them like a human.
Treat them like a human.
Yeah.
And it's hard, and I don't know why it's hard, because sometimes I'm getting into that tone of conversation with the students when we're there, and then I have to, and I can see them getting defensive, and I have to stop and I have to say, "Are you okay? Is there something that's going on here? This isn't you. I shouldn't have started talking." Apologize to them too. If you start off on a bad foot, apologize. Like, kids never hear adults apologize. And one of the most powerful tools that I've ever had in working with a student is apologizing. I got off on the wrong foot here. I was immediately combative. We need to be able to have a conversation. Is everything okay? And then go from there. Yeah. And I think that's one of the best, whether you're a parent or whether you're a business owner. Our kids are pretty awesome, and they can kind of see through all the BS. They can see through all of the negativity. They can tell when we're being inauthentic, and that's my piece of advice. How they can reach out and how they can build, and then hire them. I mean, if you can build a good relationship with them, hire them, bring them on, because they're going to work hard for you.
Yeah,
and honestly, reaching them there at that moldable point, and then helping them develop, you potentially have an employee that is going to be able to run your next business. And I highly recommend reaching down into the high school, teenage levels to really be able to build and mold that person.
Absolutely.
And not relying on college to be able to do that. Instead, get them now and help them get to the college that they need to, and help be a mentor.
Yeah. That's great. And, the Chamber, we're really trying to be that bridge between students and businesses with a number of our initiatives that we're working on. An internship program we launched, and we have our SoCal, which is a career exploration website. So, absolutely want to be a bridge there and just continue those conversations on how we can do that. So, so we talked a lot about the kids and about what happens at schools, but I'm curious kind of what is your day like? Like, what do you, as a superintendent of schools, what does your day look like?
So my day starts at 5 a.m. and between 5 and 6:30 in the morning is complete utter chaos of trying to get a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old, 2 daughters ready for school and off to school. And because of the time change, the start times and everything, my wife now takes both of them to school, but it's a relay race. And so my job is to get them up and ready and dressed and lunches made and things along those lines. And then I tag in and leave, and she does the hair, makes sure the teeth are brushed, and does the actual drop off. From there, I get in and I use my commute to really think about what the day is going to be in front of me. It's nice to be able to have that time to decompress from the first job and get prepared for the second job. And I'll think about what's going to be there ahead of me. With the new start time, I get there about 45 minutes to an hour before school starts.
And the new start time you're referring to is because of the state law that requires that middle school, high school not start before 8:30.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And so our elementary starts at around 8:15, and the high school starts and middle school start at 8:30. And what I do is I go through my calendar for the day. Today happens to be a facilities day where I work on different things as far as the facility is concerned. I meet with Luis Yamas, who runs our facilims. And
he's a great guy.
He's a great dude.
Yeah.
And probably one of the smartest people I know. He can fix just about anything. And I rely on him for a lot. He really helped keep us safe during COVID. Yeah. And did a great job, and he was able to work with us and really be innovative when it came to strategies for being able to get the kids back to school. But I digressed, and Luis can pay me in Diet Cokes later. But I met with Luis in the morning, and we talked about different things that he needs to be able to do. I met with, then I went over to Vista Unified, and I met with them and talked about their oversight program. And now I'm here doing the podcast, and what I plan on doing when I go back. I have a board meeting tomorrow, so I got a board presentation that I'll work on for them. I'm going to be looking also at what we need to be able to do to support our elementary schools, some of the different facilities that we need for that to be able to take place. So that's my facility day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is strategic planning day. So I do a lot of focus. We're going to be doing our strategic planning in October. So I do a lot of focus on making sure that we have all the data available for our people who are going to be participating in that, getting everybody on board with that. So I got it really broken down into thematic days, and things continue to pop up here or there.
Yeah.
But
that's a really structured way to approach your work.
I have to, because
that's
great. Being in education, the day was always dictated to me.
Yeah.
And now I get a little bit more freedom to dictate what's going on. And it's something that's new. I'm 45 years old, and this is the first time in my life where that's really been the case. So I had to come up with a different system to be able to approach it. So I'm not stuck in the weeds with a bunch of half-finished projects that need to get done, that are holding everybody else back from being able to do their job too.
Yeah, that's a great approach. What's your very most favorite thing about your job?
Graduation. I mean, it's weird because I get nervous in like assemblies and when there's a large group of people together, because I'm a rule follower and I want people to behave. And sometimes that doesn't happen when there's people together and people yell out or somebody does something strange, and it makes me really anxious. But we have a mission at Guajomí, and our mission is to develop, critical thinkers who have curiosity, courage, and resolve, and are going to go out in the community and are going to become responsible citizens. I just summarized it. It's easier to do it that way for me. And to sit at graduation and watch each one of those students go across the stage, and that is our final exam as an organization, as a school, is to be able to say, like, all right, that kid is able to show that we've done our job as an organization. He meets this criteria as far as this mission is concerned, or she has met this criteria, or where we could do better as an organization. But overall, it's a very rewarding experience, because you talked about the letters your husband get. Mm-hmm. You don't get that in real time. Very rarely does the person come up to you and say that. You get that after a student reflects, they get out of the educational world. And so this is our real-time exam, is watching that student go across the stage and graduate and go on to things, and knowing like you've done everything you can as an organization, and they've done everything they could as a student, and the parents done everything that they can. And then just to see the pride on their parents, just to be...
I'm getting emotional listening to this story. You're making me cry.
But that's it. That's the best part.
Yeah.
And it can be emotional. And like this year, especially this past senior graduating group, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And they had every reason to be angry at the world. And they had every reason to be angry at me because I was making decisions that kept them out of school and away from their friends. And they were just a positive group, and they worked with us. And it was such a good, and it was such an amazing experience. And that's it. That's the best part. And seeing those families happy and seeing all of the people just be able to celebrate in that moment that everybody worked together so hard for is just the best part. So
that's great.
Yeah.
What's hard about it? What's the hardest part?
This is, you see all the difficult things that they go through. I mean, you just don't have an idea of the day-to-day struggles that some of these children are going through.
Yeah.
Parents that are absent, either through their choices that they're making or because they have to be. I mean, that's the saddest, right? The ones that are having to work 2 or 3 jobs and can't be there to really be able to support their kids. And that's where we have to step in as an entity to be able to provide as much opportunity or support for them,
right?
To be able to, for them to be able to be successful, to be able to overcome them. I mean, sure, every once in a while you get students that have their pull themselves up by the bootstrap story and we're able to overcome that on their own, but they shouldn't have to. They really shouldn't. They should be able to have additional help, the community come together to be able to support them, to be able to do everything that they can, to be able to make sure that they're okay. And they have every opportunity that I've been lucky enough to have because of a lot of things that are out of my control. So it's my job, my responsibility to be able to do that. And it's hard to see students that aren't able to, even with the helps or supports we get in, get there for a number of reasons, and to know how sad and how difficult it is really makes me feel lucky for the upbringing that I had, and even more determined to make sure we're providing the support for those families. So, yeah. That
must be really hard to see, but also fuel to just keep you going. It empowers you to keep on your mission and to get those kids across that stage and to start that next chapter.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's great. Wow. Powerful. Okay. Anything that we haven't discussed about Guajomí, about you, anything that we haven't discussed that you really want people to know about?
No, it's just a great place. It's a special place. People always ask what makes Guajomí different. And it's like they're actively choosing to send their students there, which makes it different. They're not sending them there because it's the school down the street, as you talked about. They see something, they identify something that they want to be a part of. That means that there's an intrinsic value of education and making sure that their kid is taken care of. And we understand that, and we really value that. And it's something that we see as being really important, and really kind of raises the stakes for us. Is if you're making the choice to send your kid here, we understand why you have higher expectations for us, and we have those expectations for ourselves. Our theme for this year is Expect Excellence, and we're really trying to, instead of shifting from survival mode and getting to the end of the year, to really expecting excellence of not only our students, but each other, and even our stakeholders, our parents, really getting them involved and bringing them back into the fold, and also providing supports for them. We're really interested in trying to turn into a community school, looking for different opportunities to be able to provide food and care and educational experiences for not only our staff and students, for our parents as well. Not our mission, but our theme is building a community of learners. And it doesn't just focus on our students. It doesn't just focus on our parents. It focuses on our staff as well. We all want to be able to learn and grow. And I think that that's very important. And that's been something that we try to bring to the Guajomí community as well. Or not the Guajomí community, the Vista and North County community.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good one. Okay. All right. So it's time for the end. My rapid fire questions. Yeah. So ask everybody on the podcast these questions. So tell me a book you think everyone should read.
A book that everyone should read,
or that you highly recommend.
I highly recommend. One of the books that really changed my view on how we should do things in education was the Moneyball book by Michael Lewis. They did the movie with Brad Pitt afterwards. Super handsome and a very good actor and everything like that.
So are you the Brad Pitt in this story?
No, no. I'm more like the nerdy sidekick. What's his name? Paul D. Podesta is the name of the character. But anyways, it made me say that it's important to be able to look at all your options. Sometimes in education, we only do things one way because it's the way that things have always been done. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the theme in the book, is like, we've always done it this way. We've always scouted players this way. We've always looked for these 5 things when we talk about a baseball player. But are there other things out there? Are there different ways to be able to do it? And I think that's one of the spirits of a charter school, is to be able to be innovative, to be able to think of different ways to be able to do things. And that book really inspired me in a way to be able to do that. So, I think that was a very influential book. I also just read along similar lines. I've really gotten into Formula One. I've watched the Drive to Survive documentaries series is on Netflix. And I read a book by Adrian Newey, who's designed Formula One cars for the past 30, 40 years. And his idea, again, of like, this team is doing this, but can I do it in a different way that's going to achieve better results? I'm always interested in trying to do things a little bit different, finding
those
different
subtle
pathways.
Tweaks that make big impacts.
Yeah, that make big impacts, because I think we can get locked into a single way of doing something, and we can always go out and try to do something different.
Love it. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Tell me a song. It's your jam. You always have to turn it up. Mm-hmm. Comes on the radio. You're not going to switch it. Mm-hmm. What is it?
The Bluey theme song.
The Bluey theme song. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
As a father of a 4 and 8 year old during the pandemic, sat through a lot of terrible and awful cartoons, but then also sat through some pretty fun and interesting ones. And Bluey was a cartoon and a television show that taught me how to be a better dad, and the importance of imagination and creativity and play. And so whenever I hear that song, it always kind of brings, I don't know if it,
you're not going to tap your toe or jam out,
exactly,
but
it brings a smile to my face.
Okay.
And,
got it.
And so that one's important to me.
I love it. I love that. Okay. Tell me something that inspires you.
Inspires me. My family, my kids and my wife. I am surrounded by women, strong, powerful women. It's so amazing yet difficult and sometimes heartbreaking to watch and see what they have to be able to go through and to be able to work through, to be able to be successful, some of the extra barriers that are there, and to see how strong my wife is and how good she is at raising our daughters. And how important it is and how little I actually knew in the first place. It's been really inspiring to the point I got to take a step back sometimes, just learn like, okay, can't say this. Man, I really screwed up when I talked to this young lady that was in my office this one time this way. I got to be better. I got to understand better. I got to ask more questions. But I think that's what inspires me the most, is to really make sure that opportunities are provided to people who've been marginalized. I'm very lucky to have strong people to be able to show me how to do that when I'm not so great at doing it on my own.
Fantastic. Love that. It's a good one. Okay. Mm-hmm. Last one. Tell me a Vista business that you think deserves a shout out.
Adam from Alchemy. I know he did all of our t-shirts for Guajomí at the beginning of the school year. Expect Excellence t-shirts. He was awesome. He did things in a really timely manner. He was really open to our feedback, and we're excited to continue to do business with him. So
Alchemy Print Co.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's a Guajomí graduate.
He is a Guajomí graduate, so it's cool. That's what's rare about charter schools. A lot of them are new. But we're really getting to see alumni come back. Not only that, more parents that graduated from Guajomí are bringing their kids there, which is making me feel super old. Yeah. But it's also really cool to be able to see that kind of circle, that community come back. And we're going to be really working hard to kind of reach out and tap into that community a little bit more. I think that's great. Yeah.
Adam is someone who I think he's basically like a chamber wish dream, because he grew up in Vista, went to Vista schools, graduated from Vista schools. Now he owns a business. He serves on our board. He was our past chair of the board. And that's a full circle moment, you know, to grow up here, start your business here, employ people here, be involved in your community. I give a thumbs up to that. To that
he's
recommendation.
Your rising star. That's what you talk about all the time.
Absolutely. He's absolutely the example that, that we look to. Awesome. So that's great. I have to tell you a quick funny thing. So everywhere we go, my family, we always bump into people who either know me through my work or know my husband through his work. And just over the weekend, I was at an event where there were vendors at this event, and I met this gentleman, and he was like, I know you. And I was like, yeah, I know you. I know you too. So we start asking, where do you go? You know, trying to figure out, well, and he owns a business in town. And he said, you know, did you go to Guahomie? And I said, no, thank you for asking me that. But my husband's a teacher there. And he's like, oh, what's his name? And I told him, he's like, oh, he was my soccer coach.
Oh, yeah.
And the year that he was on the team was the year before we had kids. And so I went to all the games. So I knew that particular team really well. And it was super fun to connect with him and, you know, talk to him about his business. And now there's like that connection. So it's really great to see the kids that graduate and now I'm getting to know the kids from all the schools because of our Rising Star program and because of all the other things we're doing. But I love it. I love a full circle story like that. So
that's
great.
Awesome.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for being
Thanks for
here.
having me. I appreciate it. I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah,
cool.
So good to have you. So thank you to our guest, Kevin Humphrey from Guahomie Schools, and thank you for listening to Velocity. If you like what you heard, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and tell a friend. Help us move Vista forward with Velocity. The Vista Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit organization that serves as a catalyst for business growth. Find us online at vistachamber.org.